Good morning, everybody. My name is Angela,
And I'm Raven.
and you're watching our video podcast called Scorpio's Point.
So we thought it would be fun today to ask each other some questions to give all of you an opportunity to get to know us a little better. We didn't plan the questions ahead of time, so Angela doesn't know what I'm going to ask her, and I don't know what she's going to ask me.
What film had an impact on your life and why? And when I say film, that could be like a movie or a documentary or a TV series.
My brain is like swirling. But the movie that I think that, or documentary that stood out to me the most was the food. Was it Food Inc.?
That is a documentary, I think.
Yeah, I watched that when I was like 14, and after that, I started doing a lot of research about like mass consumption and mass production of like meats and other things, and I definitely started like to question like the way that we use animals. So I actually became vegetarian at that time, and I was vegetarian for a really long time until recently, and now I'm kind of just like I eat what I'm feeling like I need at the time, but I definitely still reduce consumption. My first question, what's your most...
I'm nervous.
You should be. This is one that would make someone nervous.
Oh gosh.
What's your most embarrassing memory?
That is so easy.
Oh, okay.
That's so easy. I have two. I'm going to share one.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier to explain. So when I was a university student, I was probably 22. I was walking home, and I had it's literally a 5-minute walk, not very far to go. And anybody who lives on the island knows that it can get quite windy. And so I was walking in the street, and a gust of wind took me. And like literally my feet were struggling to stay on the ground. They were just kind of like going like, oh, like scraping on the ground. And it dragged me down the street. So like my little feet were just like flailing all over the place, and my hands were going everywhere. And then when the wind let me go and the wind stopped, I fell on my side and then like tumbled. Not somersault, but like kind of on my side and tumbled, and I fell this way on the ground. And so then a man was parked in the nearby parking lot and saw me and came over, and he helped me up and asked if I was okay. And like I was physically okay, but like my pride, oh my God, it was so embarrassing. So anyways, he said, I'll give you a ride home. And so I got into a car with a strange man that I didn't know, which turned out to be fine. But anyways, when I got into the car, the wind also took the car door and like came to on my leg. So then I ended up with like, and I couldn't get it off me. And he had to like get in the car and like push the car door off me. Then I ended up with like a big bruise on my leg. Gosh. My pride was hurt. I broke my bracelet, and I left my hat in this car, and I never did get it back.
Oh man, that was not a good day for you.
No, it was that remains to be one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And whenever I hear the wind, not so much now, but particularly when it happened, whenever I heard the wind, I was like kind of afraid to go outside. I was afraid I was going to get blown away.
I got to be honest that when you described it, I pictured Mary Poppins.
You know why? It probably was, much like Mary Poppins. Like I remember trying to feel the ground underneath my feet, and like I couldn't. I just had to like stretch to get my toes to touch the pavement. They were just like kind of sliding like that, like whee.
That's scary.
And I pretty much went down the entire street, just like blew down the entire street. It was so horrible. What is your ideal date night?
Okay. That's hard.
Is it?
That's hard to me. I think I just have trouble committing to anything, like any answers. Because like after I answer, I'll think of 10 other things that could have been better. Ideal date night. So definitely not a movie. I can say what not a movie.
Why?
Can't talk. Movies. That's like probably your ideal date, is it? Because you don't love to like socially interact too much in public.
I also don't like to eat in front of people I don't know either.
Yeah.
So maybe not a movie, but
you
get a popcorn, right?
Eating. So I guess like for me, going for like a walk, maybe if I was in St. John's, like going for a walk in the past down on the waterfront when you could be right out by the water. So something like that, a hike with like a little picnic and an opportunity to have a little conversation to get to know each other. If not that, or in addition to that, opportunity for dancing too.
Oh, really? That's
Mm-hmm.
like so brave to go dancing on a date, especially with somebody that, you know, you don't really know particularly well.
When it comes to dancing, I'm just a little bit of a wild child. I don't like
I mean,
care.
that's your thing, and I think that's
Yeah, I
totally fine.
enjoy dancing.
So like talking or dancing or both?
Yeah, both.
Awesome.
That's a good question.
About myself.
I came up with that one on my own. If you were to do an interview where you are hiring someone for something, let's say like the business that we are planning, what would be a question you would ask them? And it can be totally outside the box, like not just your standard, like, why should you work here?
I think maybe I might ask them if they had a superpower that they could use to like better, you know, their clientele or their participants or whatever, you know, clientele they're dealing with. What would they use and why?
That's a good question.
Is that a good question?
That's a good question. I would like to be asked that question in an interview. Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that. I'm going to put some thought into that. If I was to have a superpower to help people, what would it be? I think I would like to be able, I'd like to give people the ability to see themselves as they actually are and not as they fear that they might be or that they perceive they are in comparison to others.
Okay. So your ability would be to help people give them the ability to see their true selves.
What about you?
I thought the first thing that came to my mind was um, maybe the ability to read minds. So like, let's just say it's an example, if I was counseling somebody and I wasn't particularly sure if they were really feeling it, maybe I was asking questions that wasn't resonating with them, but if I could read their thoughts, and maybe they were too kind as well, like they were too nice to say like, you're not helping me, shut up, like let me go home. But if I could read their minds, I can kind of be like, they're not liking the route that I'm taking with this, and I think they maybe would rather if I ask these types of questions, and then I would just easily go down that avenue.
Imagine the like ethical issues with that practice.
So many
Invasive.
issues.
Get out of my head, like literally.
All right, so I'm actually going to ask you, I'm curious as to what skills have you developed or come to realize that you had?
I have learned that I love to get to know people and I love to ask questions and I'm curious, but I have struggled with actually listening to the answer sometimes because I love to talk so much.
Oh, okay.
So I've had to develop this.
Example?
I started working on it in school when we would do like our mock interviews and group sessions and stuff like that. So I started working on the ability to just listen. It was feedback that I often got from professors that it's okay to have silence sometimes. But then in the new job that I started that I'm currently working in, I have had the fortune to work with some wonderful people and a wonderful coworker, and I do a shout out, Julia. We have done a lot of talking about what active listening looks like, and I always think of her now when I'm talking to people. I'm always mindful to ask people questions, like follow-up questions, and if I can commit to asking 3 follow-up questions at least. And while it's really wonderful to be able to relate back and forth, in a conversation and say like, oh, I can relate to that, I've had that experience before, there's also so much value in like showing people that you're interested in hearing what they have to say.
Well, by nature, I'm pretty timid and quiet and introverted. I don't like confrontations. I still don't. So when I was studying counseling and doing my work term, one of the things that I had to work on was being directive. So like, as an example, perhaps you're having a conversation with a client and maybe they're not being honest or open or willing to put in the work. So I had to kind of be directive and call it,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that I could do that, but I did. And it got easier, but it's still hard. Like I'm still very aware that this is something I'm going to have to do right now. It's not like, it doesn't like kind of roll off my tongue. It was great. It was kind of empowering to know that I can harness those skills.
You can be like a directive introvert.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have to nap for 3 hours after.
Yeah. Mine would be on the flip, I guess, that I like have to learn how to stop giving direction and to receive it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why we complement each other well, right? You know?
In response to that, you said that you don't like confrontation. You never have, which I can attest to. I don't recall us ever having a fight, except for one. And I wonder if you can remember the same one.
Oh gosh. Does that have to do with Barbies?
Tell me. I don't know. No, it doesn't, but I want to know.
I remember you came over to play when I moved out of Bay Roberts to Spaniards Bay, and we were playing Barbies, and we wanted to like do like little swapsies, and then one of us, probably me, changed their mind. So when you were getting ready to go, I saw you going with my things, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So we were kind of like bickering in the porch about that for a few moments. And I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if you went home with my Barbie dress or not.
I was thinking about the time that you moved to Spaniards Bay, and I told you, if you leave, I'm not going to ever be your friend anymore.
I would totally remember that, and it crossed my mind, but I didn't see that as a fight. That was just more like a...
I was so upset though, but that's like me being directive, like as if you got any control over your parents moving to Spaniards Bay. And I'm like telling you, like, if you leave, that's it.
You didn't just tell me that. You cried. You cried.
I was really upset. Yeah.
You called me and you were like, if you got to go to a new school, I'm never going to be friends with you again. And you hung up.
Like, I thought that was going to like be effective. I thought that would change everything. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below to keep up on the next videos to come. If you have a topic that you want us to cover, please feel free to comment. And Angela has a question for all of you. Yeah, so we'd like to know something about you. So if you're comfortable sharing, let us know. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? I'm very curious. Oh, you're being weird? I'm always being weird. This is going to stick now because I'm going to call you Mary Poppins. Oh my God, please stop. Wind Girl is call me Wind Girl or something, not Mary Poppins. You're just listening to music. You're not playing a game right now? Just so that your imaginary game has music in the background? That's really cute. Okay, you can keep it on, okay? He's playing Spider-Man with his action figures, and he has a Spider-Man video in the background so he can hear the music. Oh, he gets really into the song when he hears the music. I'm the same way. Yeah. So not... Is this a date? Yeah. You know? Kidding. Continue. I've been in love with you a long time. This changes everything. You don't actually want to do like a video podcast with me. You just want to spend more time with me. You want to talk with me more. I want to be your girlfriend. I'm totally kidding. I'm not. Because you are. I'm kidding because you're kidding. I'm not. I don't know if you remember, but when we were little kids, we lived on, like, before you moved, when we lived on the same street, I think it was like when we were in kindergarten, we walked down to the bus stop. I remember one day it was like particularly windy, and mixed with the weight of our book bags, the wind took our feet from under us, but one of us like fell back, and I can't remember who. I just remember the memory of one of us like and like flying backwards. Do you remember that? I don't remember that at all, but I feel like that would be me. We used to always listen to the song on the bus. I believe I can fly. I remember that because we'd have our little Dalmatian backpack teddy bear things. Yeah, we make them dance. Yeah.